Happening now, the latest on a police pursuit through a Jamestown school zone as officers lodge charges in the case. And a firefighter killed in the line of duty will be laid to rest tomorrow. Plus, we're breaking down improvements to several local parks.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up. But first, we start with First Defense weather, as another winter storm is coming to our region tomorrow. Chief Weather Forecaster Andrew Stevenson joins us now with more on what's ahead for parts of our viewing area. Andrew?
Even though we're into March, Mother Nature will not let go with the winter weather. We have winter weather advisories in place for much of the region, including the southern tier, Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, Allegheny County, southern Erie County, as well as Erie County, Warren County, McKean County, and Pennsylvania. That winter weather advisory will go into effect at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning and go until 7 a.m. Saturday. So let's give you a early look at future scan. Nothing going on today, so there's nothing really going on talking about today, but the snow will begin to overtake the region tomorrow morning. Then we have widespread snow through much of the rest of the day and the afternoon. There might even be pockets of moderate to heavy snow at times tomorrow afternoon, but it's not going to last very long because by the time we get into tomorrow evening and the overnight hours, that snow will begin to taper off, and then we'll just be left with a couple of snow showers early on Saturday before that snow comes to an end by Saturday afternoon. I'll have a look at the snowfall totals in the full forecast. But as for right now, not much happening for today. We had some clouds this morning, but those clouds are starting to break up and we'll have sunshine through the rest of the afternoon before the snow arrives tomorrow. So here's the forecast for the rest of the afternoon. That early day cloud cover will give away partly to mostly sunny skies through the rest of the afternoon with a north wind of 5 to 10 miles per hour, and highs today will be in the mid to upper 30s. I'll have a look at those snowfall totals coming up in the full forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. A 25-year-old man is accused of speeding through a Jamestown school zone after almost crashing with an oncoming vehicle in the area. On Wednesday morning, officers with Jamestown Police observed a white Ford Escape fail to stop at the intersection of Brad Street and Foote Avenue. Police say the vehicle, operated by Matthew Haskins, sped across 4 lanes of traffic on Foote Avenue, almost causing a crash with oncoming cars there. When officers gave pursuit, Haskins allegedly failed to stop. He continued through the Jefferson Middle School speed zone on Martin Road as students were walking to clash there. Haskins eventually pulled over inside of Bradmar Circle. That's where he was arrested. Due to New York State's bail reform law, the suspect was later released with an appearance ticket. He faces several traffic violations and a charge of driving on a suspended license. Well, 2 men were sentenced in Chautauqua County Court on Wednesday for weapons charges. The Chautauqua County District Attorney's Office announced that 41-year-old Charles Butchin and 25-year-old Epkil Gasket were sentenced on separate state prison terms by Judge David Foley. Now, Buchan will spend 6 years behind bars before 3 years of post-release supervision for violating the terms of his probation, while Gaskin will spend 5 years in state prison plus 5 years of post-release supervision. Both were previously convicted on separate charges of attempted criminal possession of a weapon. That's a Class D violent felony. A Little Valley man is accused of walking into a business in Ellicottville with a high-powered assault-style rifle. The Ellicottville Police Department arrested Aaron Leo last Friday after he allegedly entered an establishment with that gun. Now, following a further investigation, Leo was also found in possession of 2 high-capacity ammunition-feeding devices. Leo faces a slew of charges, including felony criminal possession of an assault-style weapon and ammunition-feeding device capable of holding more than 10 rounds, also a felony. The suspect has since been released under the supervision of the Cattaraugus County District Attorney's Office. Well, the Warren County School Board invited members of the public to give their opinions on its master facilities plan last night, which includes proposed changes and closures. Youngsville and Sheffield middle schools were the ones that got the most attention. with parents and students telling the board that they want the school to remain open. Sheffield parent Tom Holder says he likes the idea of smaller schools.
It's about the fact that community matters. You know, without these communities lifting these kids up, there's problems. 88% of Warren kids are graduating. 98 at Sheffield. That's community.
Now, the Warren County School District Superintendent, Damie Stewart, she tells our news partner, WNY News Now, that no final decisions have been made just yet, with 2 more of these public engagement sessions still to come. Well, over $200,000 in improvements will likely take place this year in the city of Jamestown. Our Bronson Rasmussen joins us live from the newsroom today with more on the improvements which are coming to Jamestown parks.
Justin, those with the Jamestown Parks Department are planning to renovate some of the city's most underutilized parks. Parks Manager Dan Stone presented plans to renovate Roseland Park on the city's north side and Willard Street Park on the east side, alongside other projects totaling $221,000. At Roseland Park, $120,000 would pave the way for a slew of improvements, including, by popular request, the installation of new pickleball courts.
So we'd like to go in, completely remove all existing blacktop and then pour a new pad, or pour a new path that goes around, completely handicap accessible all throughout. Add a lot more green space in there, along with the shade structure. And then the front parking lot area, we create 2 new pickleball courts, a small parking area with handicap parking right up to the fence as well.
The Willard Street Park location is considered to be the city's most underutilized play location, with some long overdue upgrades sought, including a new volleyball court.
It's probably been around since before I was born. Right? Every year we have our insurance guy come around. And one, they're grateful we didn't put anything new in, because if we put anything new in, automatically we got to take out all those old structures. Over the last 7 years, we've already removed 2, but as you can see, it's like what we all grew up with. It's nothing but solid metal pipes everywhere. One of them great little slides. I'm glad it's not a big long slide, because you get sunburnt going down that thing every summer. Right?
Costing the city $72,000, the parks manager is also looking to plant an orchard.
On that lower end, it's such a severe drop off. We'd never be able to build anything on that without a huge change in grade. Incorporating a possible fruit orchard. Have different flowering and fruiting trees in through there to start. To go along with the public market.
Other projects proposed by the Parks Department include $15,000 to resurface the city's many basketball courts and $14,000 for 18 self-watering flower pots in the downtown area. Reporting live in the newsroom, Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
Thank you, Bronson. Next, we're taking a look at the push for additional transportation funding here in New York State. But first, a firefighter who died while battling a blaze in downtown Buffalo last week will be laid to rest. The latest on funeral preparations.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised to benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work,
dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Caitlin Armstrong.
Land has been quite the experience.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
The firefighter who died while battling a blaze in downtown Buffalo last week, where a fire and sudden blast sent flames and smoke billowing into the street, will be laid to rest on Friday. Buffalo firefighter Jason Arno was reported missing shortly after crews arrived at the scene last Wednesday. The building, which held a theatrical costume shop, quickly deteriorated due to intense heat and flames. Firefighters had to evacuate to escape the collapsed interior. A wake and public calling hours for Arno are scheduled from 2 to 8 on Thursday at the Amagon Funeral Home in Buffalo. On Friday, a procession of first responders and family will escort Arno's casket seated atop his fire engine past his home station, followed by a massive Christian burial at St. Joseph's Cathedral and private burial at Forest Lawn Cemetery. An American flag will be draped between two ladder trucks, which will greet his casket as it arrives at the church. A similar display will be outside of Forest Lawn Cemetery as well. Up to 10,000 people are expected to attend the procession or service in some capacity. The church will only be filled with first responders, some from around the country, and Arno's family. Well, New York Senator Chuck Schumer is demanding new safety protocols for rail safety. The Democrat visited Elmira this week. It comes on the heels of two Norfolk Southern train derailments, 29 days apart in Ohio, that have sparked safety concerns across the country. Now, the issue of rail safety, it isn't something new. In 2011, a Norfolk Southern rail car derailed off of an elevated track in Elmira, and at the time, the company did not report the incident. Schumer was joined by local fire and emergency officials to drive home how important this is. While the area is ready for some issues, there are some gaps.
This bill will make common sense safety reforms, help increase communication to our first responders, get them additional support, and make the railroads pay for their wrongdoing.
Schumer is demanding Norfolk Southern, alongside other rail companies, step forward and take actions to prevent another East Palestine, Ohio crash where residents still have concerns over air, soil, and water quality. The end goal here, he says, is holding railroad companies accountable for their wrongdoing. Well, some transportation advocates, they traveled to Albany Wednesday to call on lawmakers and the governor to advocate for more funding into transportation infrastructure. Our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein has more.
Governor Kathy Hochul's state budget proposes maintaining funding for the Consolidated Local Street and Highway Improvement Program, or CHIPS, at $577.8 million. Some lawmakers say this is not enough, especially for local municipalities who rely heavily on funding from the CHIPS program.
Those municipalities who CHIPS either makes up all of their local roads budget or a very substantial portion of it, the only option they have to improve their roads beyond that is raising property taxes. We all know where property taxes are in New York State. That's not a viable option in most of our communities.
O'Mara says the funding for CHIPS and other infrastructure programs like Pave New York and Pave Our Potholes has been flat for the past few years. Senator O'Mara, Assemblymember Phil Palmisano, and some of their Senate and Assembly colleagues recently sent a letter to the governor asking for a $200 million increase in base funding for the CHIPS program and a $70 million increase to the Extreme Winter Recovery Program.
So if we can get this increase in the CHIPS program and the extreme winter recovery, it would make a significant difference for our local communities and also for the property taxpayers. Every dollar we invest in the CHIPS program saves the local property taxpayer $1.
Some local advocates say with the cost of construction materials rising with inflation, an increase in funding to these infrastructure programs would have a significant impact.
We're just band-aiding a lot of our roads. I mean, not just me, but all the municipalities.
In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
From New York to Pennsylvania on Wednesday, Governor Josh Shapiro visited the State Police Academy. He met with cadets and toured the facility before discussing public safety investments in his proposed budget and the need for recruitment and retention of new police officers. Shapiro credited a new fund to provide a system of resources for state police and also provided funding for 4 new cadet classes. The governor hopes to attract new police by also providing a $2,500 personal income tax credit for new municipal and state police in the Commonwealth. State police say new cadet applications have been on the decline. They're at the lowest in 30 years.
It is disheartening, the negative narrative that has been put around policing in these last 3 to 5 years. And I think the governor's going to try and change that, and I look forward to working with him about it.
Shapiro also proposed investments to ensure state police have resources to maintain and replace critical equipment. The governor and state lawmakers will have to negotiate a final budget by the end of June. Well, after 47 years, men's college basketball coach Jim Boeheim has retired. The Hall of Fame led Syracuse University to the NCAA tournament 35 times, including 5 appearances in the Final Four. The Orange won its first and only NCAA title in 2003 with Boeheim at the helm. The 78-year-old finishes his coaching career second on the NCAA Division I men's basketball win list, tailoring only former Duke head coach Mike Krzyzewski. Boeheim played basketball at Syracuse University before joining the team as a walk-on in 1962. His retirement comes following the Orange's last second 77-74 loss to Wake Forest in the second round of the Atlantic Coast Conference on Wednesday. Well, coming up, we're taking a look at the proposed enhancements to election security. And later, we break down President Biden's proposed budget, which he's delivering today in Philadelphia. But first, Andrew has a full look at our weather forecast and more on this storm headed our way.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. After a cloudy start to the day today, we have partly sunny skies out there right now. Current temperature is 31 degrees at the Jamestown Airport with a north wind of 8 miles per hour and a wind chill of 24. The almanac for today, we made it to a high of 35 degrees yesterday. The low was 23, and the records for today, the record high 78 set back in 2000 and the record low of -16 set back in 1984. Here's a look at the winter weather impacts for this next system tomorrow and this Saturday. Mainly it's going to be a snowfall event with moderate snowfall accumulation expected. The only thing working in our favor is the fact that we're in March and there's a higher angle to the sun, so that should help limit snowfall piling up on paved surfaces during the day tomorrow. But it still might be some slick travel, especially on untreated roadways. Not expecting any ice accumulations, and wind gusts may be around 30 miles per hour, which may create some time of limited visibility. Here's what's happening across the northeast right now. High pressure is drifting across the region. That's going to keep the weather dry through the rest of the afternoon and into the night. And you see our next storm system out there across Missouri and Iowa starting to get its act together, and that's going to move just to the south of our region heading into tomorrow. So here's a full look of future scan for the rest of the afternoon. Partly to mostly sunny skies. Clouds will once again be on the increase tonight out ahead of that system, and then that system will start to bring its snow early tomorrow morning. Might start off with a period of some rain showers before switching over to widespread snow through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening hours tomorrow. There might be even some pockets of some moderate to heavy snow. And then as that system starts to pull away tomorrow night, snow showers will taper off through the night and into the day on Saturday after a couple of snow showers early on Saturday. The rest of the day should be mainly dry, although mostly cloudy. So here's a look at snowfall accumulations from tomorrow running through Saturday morning across the southern tier and northwestern Pennsylvania. We're looking at maybe 4 to 6 inches. The higher snowfall totals will be found on the highest hilltops and across the Chautauqua Ridge, where they could see upwards of 6 to 7 inches, maybe even around 8 inches across the highest hilltops where there's more snow from lake enhancement. And now the next 7 days brought to you by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. As we head into the weekend, again, some snow showers early on Saturday, but high pressure begins to build in. That's going to dry us out for the remainder of the weekend. Temperatures on Sunday in the mid-30s, and then we're watching another system early next week, a nor'easter that could bring another round of winter weather to the region Monday through Wednesday of next week, but it's all going to depend on the track, and we're still way too early to know the exact track of the next system. Let's just say more winter weather is on the way next week.
Yeah, certainly Mother Nature changing course here. I thought maybe we'd have an early spring, but not quite here. Andrew, thank you very much. Well, we're inching closer and closer to the 2024 elections, and many candidates, they're starting to throw their hat in the ring for presidential and other big elections. Well, now congressional members, they're pushing communities to get new federal funding that focuses on enhancing election security. Under the $1.12 billion Homeland Security Grant Program, the Department of Homeland Security has designated election security as a priority. The DHS says the money will help state, local, tribal, and territorial governments, as well as nonprofits, to prevent, prepare, and protect against potential terrorist attacks. Now, Senator Gary Peters, along with other Senate Democrats, they're applauding the department on prioritizing funding for this, stressing that free and fair elections are the cornerstone of our democracy, and enhancing election security is critical to communities here in Western New York.
It's absolutely critical that we continue to make sure that our elections are secure. I think it's important to note that in the last few elections, they have been free and fair. There is no evidence of widespread fraud, but that doesn't mean we should ever let our guard down. We should always be prepared to protect that system. You know, our democracy is based on the notion that we have elections, and then when you vote in those elections, your vote is counted and it is secure. And we just want to make sure that we continue the record we've had in the past of having free and fair elections.
Now, new guidance will help states with additional resources to strengthen cybersecurity and safeguard our voting systems. Peter tells us that the funds will also help address unacceptable threats against election workers who are essential to our democracy. Well, President Joe Biden will unveil his budget on Thursday in Philadelphia. According to the White House, the proposal will lower costs for families, reduce the deficit, and bolster Social Security and Medicaid. But some Republicans, they're skeptical, and they are already leery about what the plan includes. John Lawrence has more.
The Biden administration says its budget for fiscal year 2024 will cut the country's deficit by $3 trillion over the next 10 years.
We see this as a value statement on what the president sees in the future of this country, and so he wanted to make sure it was fiscally responsible.
According to the White House, the deficit reductions will be covered by tax reforms towards the wealthy and large corporations and less spending on special interests like big oil and big pharma.
We take this very seriously when we think about the fiscal responsibility, when we think about how do we move forward, not just for Americans today, but for Americans, other generations that are going to be coming behind us.
The budget proposal isn't expected to go far as is on Capitol Hill, since Republicans are in charge of the House.
Raising taxes in a low-growth economy like this will only hurt us more and put us into recession.
Biden's budget proposal aims to undermine GOP arguments trying to tie deficit reduction to raising the U.S. debt ceiling, which the White House says should be dealt with separately.
The sooner we get together, the better off all America will be. So I'm looking forward to him being willing to sit down and be able to move this forward.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Higher temperatures in the Arctic could lead to potential health threats in the future. NASA climate scientists say the warmer conditions are causing part of the region's permafrost to thaw. Permafrost is a frozen layer of soil beneath the surface, and scientists say if it thaws significantly, some viruses that have been laying dormant for tens of thousands of years could emerge and possibly endanger animals and humans. 1/5 of the northern hemisphere is covered by permafrost. Since it provides an oxygen-free environment that isn't penetrated by light, scientists say it's like a time capsule of viruses and have been really gone for quite a long time. NASA says efforts should be made to stop this thaw by addressing overall climate change concerns. Well, coming up next in today's Health Minute, why kidney disease. It's known as the silent killer, what you can do to protect your kidney health in honor of National Kidney Month.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
The issue for the agriculture community and some GOP lawmakers is the new financial burden.
The DA telling me he's received 30,000 files alone from New York State Police in the form of things like PDF files, Excel sheets, and video evidence.
Once those 4 graduate from the academy, it will leave the city of Jamestown with 60 firefighters.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. At Caitlin Armstrong.
Land has been quite the experience.
Around 37 million adults in the U.S. are estimated to have chronic kidney disease. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and many of them don't even know that they have it. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither goes over some symptoms and why treating it early is critical.
It's known as a silent killer. In the early stages of kidney disease, many don't feel sick.
You can lose up to 75% of your kidney function before you begin to manifest symptoms.
The CDC says if kidneys don't work well, toxic waste and extra fluid builds up in the body. It can lead to high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, even early death. Symptoms that can appear in later stages of kidney disease include fatigue, muscle aches, swelling of face, ankles, or hands.
If you're diagnosed early, there are strategies available to keep your kidneys functioning as close to normal as possible, as long as possible.
That's why health experts say to know your risks of kidney disease and talk to your doctor about it.
If they have diabetes or high blood pressure, or a family history of kidney disease, or if they have heart disease, or if they're over 60, they should talk to their healthcare provider to see if they've been tested, and if not, to be tested.
You can also protect your kidney health through a healthy lifestyle. That includes watching your weight, being active, and not smoking. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mandy, thank you. Your doctor can also use blood or urine tests to find out how well your kidneys are working. Well, that's going to do it for us today. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and in the free WNY News Now mobile app. We'll leave you with this live look over Chautauqua Lake. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.